Hey guys, tonight we journey into a dream that begins in a way you probably wouldn't survive, unless, of course, you happen to be part horse whisper. You drift into sleep on a woolen mattress in a quiet Corinthian home, and suddenly you're barefoot on cool marble floors, bathed in moonlight. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Let me know in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is in your corner of the world. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You lie back, eyelids growing heavy, and the cool breeze drifting through your window carries the scent of jasmine. In the half-light between waking and sleeping, you sense movement at the edge of vision. A soft glow unfolds like liquid silver, and you realize there, in the courtyard beyond your closed eyes, stands a horse unlike any other. Its coat shimmers as though it were formed from moonbeams and starlight. You glimpse wings folded against its flanks, feathers that catch every stray spark of lunar light and refract it like tiny, living prisms. Your heart thrums in your chest, a steady drumbeat that echoes in your ears. You rise to your feet on unsteady legs. The horse stands motionless, eyes glowing like amber lanterns inviting you closer. You reach out a trembling hand, fingertips brushing against feathers softer than any down pillow. A tiny feather drifts loose, landing on your palm. It warms your skin, and in that instant, you know two things. This creature is no ordinary steed, and whatever awaits you tomorrow will change everything. You step forward, feeling each stone of the courtyard underfoot. Ancient Corinth, founded around the 8th century BCE, pulses with whispered tales of heroes and gods. So it's only fitting that tonight you become part of its lore. The air is cool, but your cheeks flush with heat as excitement wells inside you. You open your mouth to speak, but the only sound is your own breath, rising in gentle puffs like mist over a mountain spring. A gust of wind stirs the jasmine vines climbing your window, carrying their scent deeper into the courtyard. The horse's wing shifts, and you catch the martingale of its golden bridle glinting in the night. You might wonder why a bridle lies ready, but in dreams, questions often unfurl themselves later. Right now, all that matters is that the horse's eyes meet yours, and you feel a surge of recognition, as if this meeting was written in the stars long before you drew your first breath. You take a step closer, and your heart whispers that you're standing at the threshold of legend. A single drop of dew glistens on the tip of the horse's nostril, catching the moonlight like a dewdrop on a spider's web. Curiously, spiders in ancient Greece were considered omens of good fortune if they crossed your path first thing in the morning, though you've never minded spiders as long as they stay far from your slippers. The courtyard stretches wide around you, flanked by white marble pillars whose capitals still bear faint traces of painted blue and red. Your fingertips brush the smooth stone, and you're surprised by how real it feels, every groove, every cool patch under your palm. Even in sleep, the world around you has an uncanny clarity, as if a hidden camera is capturing every detail for posterity. You can almost hear the faint creak of your own spine waking up, reminding you that you're alive and fully present. You lean in to study the horse more closely. Its mane falls in soft, silken waves that shimmer silver in the moonlight. You remember reading that the Parthenon in Athens was completed in 438 BCE, just a few days ago, or so it seems, and wonder whether the same artisans who carved those graceful columns could have sculpted a dream creature this beautiful. But dreams aren't chiseled in stone. They float on currents of memory and imagination. This one seems especially vivid, as though someone up there decided you needed a taste of something extraordinary. A soft, whinny, almost a sigh breaks the hush. You startle, then realize it's an invitation, a gentle beckoning. You extend your hand again, expecting the horse to shy away, but instead it leans in, pressing its velvety nose into your palm. You feel its warm breath, tinged with the sweetness of apple orchards and sea spray, a combination that makes your stomach flip with wonder. A wisp of cloud drifts across the moon, shifting the light and casting the courtyard into momentary darkness. You blink, and when your eyes readjust, a single feather drifts to the ground. It lands at your sandal-clad foot, beating ever so slightly as if still holding some vestige of life. You scoop it up, tracing its edge with reverent fingers. The feather glows faintly now, as though it contains its own heartbeat. Your mind spins with questions. Where did this horse come from? Why does it appear only to you? Yet beneath the swirl of wonder, a calm assurance settles in. Dreams often speak truths you can't articulate in waking hours. Tonight, this dream is telling you something. Something about destiny, maybe. Something about your place in a story far larger than yourself. The air grows still, as if the world is holding its breath, waiting. You and the winged horse share a silent moment, and in that space the boundaries between dream and reality blur. You sense the promise of flight, of adventure, and a task that will call upon courage you haven't yet tested. Then the courtyard melts away. You feel the cool sheets tug at your ankles, and a soft whistle of wind slides past your open window. You gasp, eyes snapping open to the familiar shadows of your chamber. Your heart pounds, and on your palm rests a single feather, no longer glowing, but as solid and tangible as anything you've ever held. You sit up, pulse racing, and realize the dream isn't over. It's only just begun. You wake with the feather pressed between your fingers, heart still thrumming from last night's encounter. The morning light slants through your shutters, casting stripes on your woolen blanket. You've barely opened your eyes when you hear it, a soft murmur, barely more than a breath, echoing at the edge of your mind. It feels like a voice carried on the wind, older than memory itself, whispering your name. You sit up, feathers of sweat cooling on your skin, and realize you're not alone in your thoughts. As you rise and slip into your sandals, the feather slips through your fingers and drifts to the floor, landing with an almost inaudible rustle. That rustle, like pages turning in a forgotten book, was the first clue. You brush past the marble threshold of your home, feet padding lightly across the courtyard where last night's dream still lingers in every cool stone. The air is crisp, scented faintly with olive oil from the lamps and the sour tang of fresh bread cooling in the bakery across the alley. You follow the whisper from your chamber to the street, where merchants shout about dried figs and salted fish. The chatter of the market swirls around you, a fisherman haggling over the price of mullet, a potter proclaiming the durability of his amphory, most likely with a healthy dose of hyperbole, and the metallic clang of blacksmiths hammering iron. Every sound feels magnified, as though the world itself is leaning in to listen. Despite the bustle, you notice a gentle hush trailing you, like a silk cloak barely brushing the ground. You pause by a stall draped with purple-dyed cloth, purple being the color of kings, since the Phoenicians perfected its extraction around the 6th century BCE, and wonder if the dye's rich hue has seeped into your dream's tapestry. The stall owner pounds the cloth with a wooden mallet, the rhythmic thuds echoing like distant hooves. You realize the whisper is stronger here, almost urgent. Turning your head, you spot a robed figure at the edge of the market square. The woman's hood veils her face, but you can feel her gaze, cool and probing. Every so often, she raises a gloved hand to her lips, as if savoring a secret she's reluctant to share. In her other hand, she clutches a scroll sealed with cracked wax. The sight of it sets your pulse racing again. Prophecies are usually chained in bronze boxes, read only by those sworn to silence. Yet here she stands, right in the open. You approach, curious and cautious. The whisper in your mind pulses with a faint urgency, pushing you forward. The robed woman doesn't flinch as you near. Instead, she lowers her hood. Her eyes gleam like wet basalt in shadow, ancient and unreadable. She speaks without moving her lips, and somehow you hear her in your mind. The sky's child must heed the prophecy before the third moon's rise. You've gone from dreaming of a winged horse to trading riddles with a soothsayer in the market. You step closer, your robe swishing against your calves. Who are you? You whisper, but the words dissolve into the ambient noise before they reach her ears. She offers the scroll, and when you extend your hand, the whisper becomes a confident murmur. Destiny's threads are woven in the unseen. You accept the scroll. It's heavier than it looks, the parchment thick as the hide of a young ox. The wax seal bears the imprint of an owl with outstretched wings, Athena's symbol. You think, recalling how the bird first appeared on Athenian coins in the late 5th century BCE to signify wisdom and protection. Read it tonight, she says, voice still echoing only in your mind. But heed the warning. The horse awaits where prophecy and courage meet. And then she's gone. No footsteps, no rustle of robe, leaving only a flicker of candlelight at the stall behind her. You snap your head back, searching, but the market's chaos has resumed as if she were never there. You clutch the scroll to your chest, heart drumming a steady rhythm. The whisper subsides into a soft lull, like a lullaby you can't quite recall. You tuck the scroll under your arm and wander back toward home. Every cracked tile and chipped fountain looking somehow different, as if the world has suddenly shifted on its axis. Passing the fountain in a square, you pause to fill a clay cup with water. The cool liquid slides down your throat, steadying your breath. You look into the rippling reflection and almost don't recognize the determined eyes staring back. There's a tightness in your chest, anticipation, fear, excitement, all tangled like threads in a loom. As you make your way home, you can't shake the sense that you're being gently guided, like a blindfolded dancer led by an invisible hand. The scroll's weight seems to anchor you to both past and future. You recall that in ancient Greece, priests often wrote prophecies on laurel leaves, believing the rustling could carry divine messages to those meant to hear them. Strange if true laurel trees were also sacred to Apollo, after all, whose domain is light, music, and prophecy. Yet here you hold a scroll sealed with Athena's owl, tying together two divine realms. By the time you slip back through your front door, the sun is high overhead, heating the tiles to a dull glow. You lay the scroll on your table, a simple pine plank dappled with knots, and sit before it, fingers itching to break the seal. But duty calls. There's bread to fetch for supper and chores to finish before dusk. You tuck the scroll out of sight aware it's changed the way you see everything. Even the crack in the ceiling seems to whisper. Throughout the day, trivial details keep tugging at your attention. A stray cat with heterochromatic eyes, that oddity of warm green pupil, and one amber slinks beneath your feet as you sweep the courtyard. Ancient Greek myths mention creatures with mismatched eyes as guardians of doorways between worlds. Though you've always written that off as fancy, yet today the cat regards you with a knowing tilt of its head. As afternoon stretches toward evening, your mind drifts back to the prophecy. What does where prophecy and courage meet even mean? It could be a place, an action, or something hidden in plain sight. Courage was important to the Spartans demonstrated at Thermopylae in 480 BCE, when 300 men held the pass against overwhelming odds. Yet brash courage without wisdom can be fatal. Your instincts tell you Athena's guidance will keep you from charging in blindly. At dusk, you light an oil lamp and settle at your table. The scroll's seal gleams in the lamplight like a golden eye. Your fingers tremble as you crack the wax, the seal giving way with a quiet pop. You unroll the parchment and find a single line in elegant script. Seek the echo of wing-beat where moonlight meets sacred stone. You recall how the oracle of Delphi's temple columns once crumbled under a single earthquake in 373 BCE, reminding even the gods that no structure is invincible, yet people still flocked there for guidance. A breeze wavers through the open window, fluttering the edges of the scroll. You tuck the corners under a clay weight and lean back in your chair. Your pulse slows as the words settle in your mind. You sense the first stirrings of a plan forming one that will lead you back to the temple, into the night, perhaps even to the courtyard where Pegasus first appeared. The prophecy is less a riddle now, and more a gentle nudge toward your destiny. You extinguish the lamp and stand, letting the hush wrap around you. The cat with mismatched eyes pads silently away, disappearing into the gathering shadows. You tuck the scroll safely in your satchel, then step outside into the cooling air. The first moonrise is just a sliver on the horizon, silver against ink-blue sky. You inhale deeply, tasting salt from the distant sea and the faint sweetness of night-blooming jasmine. Tonight, you'll follow the prophecy's echo where moonlight meets sacred stone. And with that thought, you step into the coming darkness, tread firm upon ancient marble, and feel the future unfolding beneath your feet. You wake before dawn, tangled in sheets and thoughts, the feathers still clutched in your hand. The first rays of light haven't yet crept over the tiled rooftops of Corinth, but your mind is already racing through last night's dream. Pegasus's wings brushing your cheek, the softness of that glowing feather, the hush of marble beneath your feet. You push yourself up, muscles tight with anticipation and a flicker of fear, and swing your legs over the side of the bed. Your sandals wait by the door, straps still stiff from disuse, and you slip them on, wincing as the rough leather scrapes your skin. Stepping outside, you pause to catch your breath. A chill lingers in the air, carrying the tang of salt from the nearby sea, mixed with the sweet, heavy scent of night-blooming jasmine. You draw in a deep breath and let it out slowly, feeling the cool morning breeze brush against your cheeks. The streets are nearly empty, lanterns swaying gently from wrought iron hooks and painting golden circles of light on the whitewashed walls. It's almost tranquil, until your mind replays the dream again, like a broken lyre string plucked over and over. You start to walk, your sandals clacking against the smooth flagstones. Every corner seems familiar yet distant, as if the city itself has shifted overnight. You pass the fountain of Perrine, where water spills from the mouth of a carved lion's head into a shallow basin. You pause, resting your palm on its cool marble rim, and watch the liquid spiral down. The fountain has been flowing since at least the 7th century BCE, a reliable source of water for travelers and townspeople alike, and its constant trickle reminds you that some things endure no matter how restless you feel. A baker's cries drift through the air as you round the corner. Fresh barley loaves, crisp sesame rolls. You resist the urge to grab something warm and pillowy. Your mind is too busy replaying that soft whinny and the gentle flap of giant wings. Still, the aroma of baking bread tugs at your stomach, and you remind yourself to eat later. For now, hunger is secondary to the question burning in your chest. Where will the prophecy lead you tonight? The street widens into a small plaza. An old merchant sits on a wooden crate, cleaning fish, glimmering like fallen stars. You nearly stumble over a crate of amphorae filled with olive oil, so fragrant you can almost taste it. Ancient Greeks prized olive oil for cooking, lighting, and even athletic scrubbing. You recall how wrestlers would rub oil on themselves in the gymnasium before dusting off with small stones. An odd thing to imagine first thing in the morning, but there you are, picturing yourself rolling around in oil and grit if you aren't careful. You continue, brushing past a sculptor's courtyard where a half-finished statue glints white in the pre-dawn gloom. Chips of marble lie like confetti around the base, and the air is heavy with dust. The sculptor pauses, chiseling carefully, and glances at you with curious eyes. Up early, he calls. You nod, blinking against the dust motes. He shrugs and returns to his work, revealing a graceful form emerging from the block. An eagle with outstretched wings. You wonder if he's working on a tribute to Zeus or perhaps simply experimenting. Either way, it feels like a sign. As you wander deeper into the winding alleys, the sun finally peeks over the horizon, brushing the city in soft pinks and golds. You pass under an archway carved with waves and dolphins, decorative flourishes that remind you how much Corinth thrives on trade. A remarkable feat of engineering, the Diolkos was a paved trackway built around 600 BCE, allowing ships to be hauled across the isthmus, saving days of dangerous sailing around the Peloponnese. You pause under that arch, imagining merchants heaving small boats along wooden skids, grunting and sweating as donkeys clopped beside them. If only you had their stamina, you think wryly, then remember that you're already carrying something far more exotic. Your footsteps slow as you near the Agra, the heart of public life. Stalls of fruit and pottery are just stirring to life. A stall holder yawns, rubbing sleep from her eyes, then perks up when she sees you approach. She holds out a bunch of figs deep purple, their skin almost velvety. You recall that figs were considered an aphrodisiac in some circles, and even philosophers debated whether they should be served with wine to create a harmonious evening. You decline politely, promising to visit later. The last thing you want right now is anything that will make you too comfortable. Your path takes you past a small shrine to Hermes, protector of travelers and boundaries. You stop for a moment, bow your head, and leave a coin more out of habit than faith. You remember that ancient Greeks sometimes slept near shrines, seeking prophetic dreams in a practice called incubation. How convenient it would have been to simply doze off there and hope for clear answers. But prophecies that arrive too easily sometimes lack weight. Better, you think, to earn this quest with your own restless feet. A stray dog wanders up, nose to the ground. Its coat is a patchwork of earthy browns and whites, and one ear flops comically over its eye. It looks up at you, tail wagging tentatively. You scratch behind its ear, and it rolls onto its back with a happy grunt. There's something comforting in its devotion, and you imagine tethering a dog to your side for company on a lonely quest. Then you remember that dogs, especially mongrels, were commonplace in these streets, prized for their loyalty and their knack for sniffing out anything edible. You reach the edge of the city where the marble streets meet the dusty road leading west toward the hills. Olive groves rustle in the breeze, and you can just make out the distant coastline where the sea stretches flat like molten silver. You step off the paved stones and feel the grit beneath your sandals. The crunch is oddly satisfying, a reminder that the world extends beyond polished marble and busy markets. You stop and close your eyes, letting the breeze carry the scent of wild thyme and salt. Your mind drifts back to the prophecy. Seek the echo of wing beat where moonlight meets sacred stone. Moonlight hasn't returned yet, but the rough-hewn stones underfoot seem no less sacred for their simplicity. You press a palm against one of the outcropping rocks, tracing its ridges. In that moment you feel both small and infinitely capable. A dreamer tethered to earth, yet yearning for the sky. A soft groan escapes you, part frustration, part wonder. Replaying the dream on these empty roads doesn't yield new insights, but it soothes the ache in your chest. Each step, each sound, the distant crow of a rooster, the rustle of olive leaves, the faint creak of a wagon, grounds you. Somewhere out there under far-off stars awaits Pegasus, and though your mind races with questions, your feet carry you forward, steady and determined, eager for the night to come and the next piece of this waking dream to reveal itself. You slip through the city's winding streets as the sun dips low, casting long shadows that dance across the marbled facades. Each step brings you closer to the grand entrance of the Temple of Athena, perched on its raised terrace like a sentinel watching over Corinth. The air here hums with reverence, scented faintly of oil lamps and incense, and you feel a slight shiver of anticipation crawl along your spine. A pair of Corinthian columns flanks the temple's doorway, their capitals carved into acanthus leaves so intricate you swear you can count each individual curl. You recall that the Parthenon on the Athenian Acropolis was completed in 438 BCE, its columns likewise reflecting supreme craftsmanship, proof that human hands can coax stone into poetry. You touch the smooth marble, cool and unyielding, and feel a connection across time, as though the same breath of devotion that animated those artisans' lungs now stirs inside you. You step inside, and the cool interior envelopes you like a whispered secret. Pillars recede into the gloom, leading your gaze toward Athena's statue at the far end. It's a towering figure carved from ivory and gold, shield held aloft, gaze stern yet kind. The statue's eyes seem almost alive, as though they're studying you, weighing your heart for courage and intent. A bead of sweat drips down your temple. Here, even the slightest movement echoes, reminding you of the hush that cloaks this sacred space. You find a narrow corridor off to one side, lit only by flickering oil lamps that cast dancing halos on the walls. Along the corridor, reliefs depict scenes of Athena's birth, how she sprang fully armed from Zeus's brow, helmet gleaming, spear in hand, and you pause, entranced by the story frozen in stone. The embossing is so lifelike that for a moment you half expect the spear to puncture the marble and extend into your palm. At the corridor's end, you discover a small alcove. A shallow pool of water lies there, candles floating on its surface like drifting petals. The water is cool and clear, and when you need to peer in, Your reflection ripples and flickers. You dip a fingertip into the pool and send tiny waves across the surface. The sensation is startlingly immediate, as though the goddess herself has granted you permission to approach. Above the alcove, a mosaic of tesserae glints in the lamp light, depicting an owl clutching an olive branch. The tesserae are made of glass and faience, dozens of vibrant colors assembled like pieces of a puzzle. You reach out to touch one, feeling its smooth, glassy surface. It occurs to you that Athenians first stamped the owl on their silver coins around the late 5th century BCE, a small emblem of wisdom and watchful protection. Here, in the vine-shadowed recess of a Corinthian temple, that symbol feels just as potent. Behind you, a distant murmur footsteps on stone alerts you that you're not entirely alone. Carefully, you stand and press yourself against the cool wall. A priest in simple linen robes glides past, head bowed, carrying a shallow dish of burning reeds. The smoke spirals upward, curling around him like a living creature before dispersing into the vaulted ceiling. His silent ritual feels intimate and timeless, as though rituals unchanged for centuries still hold sway over mortal hearts. You follow the priest at a respectful distance until he reaches a platform where offerings rest. Bowls of pomegranate seeds, clusters of grapes, a loaf of honeyed barley bread. You inhale, catching the tart sweetness of pomegranate mingled with the richer scent of fermented grape. The offerings seem excessive for a mortal visitor, but perhaps the goddess demands so much to prove her worth to those who seek her favor. A sudden chill brushes the back of your neck. You turn to find a hidden niche you had not noticed before, almost perfectly aligned, so shadows made it invisible. Inside the niche lies a small wooden chest bound with bronze clasps. On its lid, a carved inscription reads, "For the seeker of wings." Your heart catches you, seeker of the winged horse, have been led here for a reason. You kneel and lift the lid, revealing a handful of objects. A single golden feather, much like the one you hold tight in your pocket. A fragment of silver chain, and an amulet shaped like a tiny wing. You pick up the feather and feel its warmth seep into your palm. The silvery vein shimmers as though stirred by an unseen breath, and you recognize it as part of the bridle that once tethered Pegasus to Olympus. You fasten the fragment of chain to your belt, a promise that you will not turn back from what awaits. Clutched in the corner of the chest is a parchment scroll, its edges singed as though it has brushed close to flame. You unravel it carefully and find a brief verse. A sudden faint trill makes you jump. You glance up to see a small bird perched on a ledge above the niche. It's an unexpectedly tame sparrow with black eyes and a tuft of bright blue feathers hidden among its brown plumage. You watch it cock its head, chirp once, then flutter away down the corridor. You smile at the oddity sparrows aren't known for blue feathers, and in lore they're said to be messengers between worlds. Perhaps this little guide will watch over your steps. Pocketing the scroll, you stand and take a moment to whisper a prayer to Athena. You thank her for the guidance and ask for the wisdom to follow the path laid before you. The statue's gaze seems to soften, and in that silent exchange you feel a quiet affirmation. The temple is your sanctuary and your launch point, where divine insight and mortal courage meet. You retrace your steps through the mosaic-lined corridor, lantern light dancing across tesserae and marble alike. As you step back into the temple's main hall, the flicker of torches on the columns seems to pulse in time with your heartbeat. You pause at the threshold, glance once more at the ivory and gold statue, and sense that this sacred space has bestowed upon you Not only clues, but confidence. Stepping outside, you close the temple doors gently behind you. The courtyard beyond lies in shadow, the marble gleaming faintly under a sky that's already deepening into twilight. You brush your fingers across the scroll's crinkled surface and feel the weight of the night's promise. When moonlight meets sacred stone, your destiny will call you onward. You slip through the temple's courtyard just as the moon clears a bank of clouds, silver light painting the marble in soft luminescence. The air feels hushed here, as though the stones themselves recognize the weight of what's to come. Ahead, between two columns carved with spirals, stands a figure draped in simple linen white as fresh milk, edged in faint traces of blue dye. She doesn't turn as you approach, but you somehow feel her gaze resting on you, measuring the thrum of your heart. You pause, sandals whispering on the flagstones, and the silence feels alive. Somewhere overhead an owl hoots once, its echo folding back into the columns like a secret. The stillness stretches until it feels too heavy to breathe. And then the priestess, for that is who she is, steps forward without a sound. Her movement is so quiet it seems to defy the laws of nature, as if gravity yields to her will. You realize you're holding your breath and force yourself to exhale slowly, the cool night air filling your lungs. She tilts her head, and at last you meet her eyes, dark as polished obsidian, reflecting moonlight and something deeper, something ancient. There's no greeting, no flourish of ritual, only a steady calm in her expression that pulls at you. You feel strangely raw, as if she's peeling back the layers of your thoughts with each quiet blink. You swallow twice before you find your voice. "I seek guidance," you whisper. The priestess inclines her head, then gestures for you to follow. You move behind her, falling into step on the mosaic path that leads to a small chamber off the main hall. The walls here are lined with shelves of clay tablets and broken pottery fragments, each one inscribed or painted with dedications to the goddess. A thin wisp of incense smoke curls around a bronze burner on a low pedestal, carrying the scent of myrrh and sweet pomegranate. She stops before a low stone altar, its surface worn smooth by countless hands. There's nothing on it now, but you sense it could transform at her will. She turns, hands folded, and for a moment the world narrows to the two of you and the silent exchange between mortal and divine intermediary. You can almost hear your own pulse, slow and steady, matching the gentle sway of her robe. Without a word, she extends one hand. In her palm rests a single pale olive leaf, veins etched like a map of branching rivers. The leaf seems impossibly fresh, though no branch grows here. You reach out, fingertips brushing the edge, and feel its cool surface. A ripple of energy passes through you, not unlike the first caress of dawn light. You lift the leaf to your lips and press a delicate kiss to its center, a silent vow that you will honor whatever path lies ahead. She watches you, still as a statue, and then steps back. From her other hand, she withdraws a slender rod of polished laurel wood, tipped with a small loop of bronze. Laurels are sacred to Apollo, a reminder that words and music, light and prophecy are intertwined. You remember how victorious poets in ancient contests were crowned with laurel wreaths, their verses carried on tongues and in hearts long after their names faded. Tonight, this rod feels symbolically heavy, a tool to guide you through shadow and doubt. She raises the laurel rod, tracing a slow circle in the air before you. The movement creates a faint hum, barely audible, like the low vibration of a lyre string. The circles overlap, and where they meet a whisper of light spills across the marble floor, outlining a narrow pathway leading toward the temple's rear gate. You exhale, understanding that this is the way you must go once the prophecy's hour arrives. Then she turns away, her work complete, and steps back into the shadows. You hesitate, wondering if you should call after her, but the hush holds fast. Instead, you hold the laurel rod close to your chest and step along the glowing path. Each footfall is cushioned by the cold stone, but your heart feels suddenly weightless, as if the goddess herself lends you wings. As you approach the gate, you catch one last glimpse of the priestess watching from behind a column. Her eyes shine faintly in the moonlight, and she gives you a slow, solemn nod. It feels like both a benediction and a warning. Move forward, but remain humble. The gate's iron bars creak softly as you push them aside, and you slip through into the night. Outside, the temple walls stand pale and silent against the star-studded sky. A gentle breeze stirs the olive trees, and you can almost hear distant waves crashing against the isthmus. In your hand, the laurel rod seems to pulse with warmth. You hold it aloft and let the moonlight catch on the bronze loop, sending a sparkle that guides your path. You follow a narrow lane flanked by low stone walls, and each step along this hidden route feels like you're walking a living dream. The walls are overgrown with tendrils of ivy, their leaves brushing your arms, cool and slightly damp. Once, ivy was used to crown Bacchus's followers, imparting both inspiration and a gentle intoxication of spirit. You feel neither drunk nor frightened, only profoundly awake. Around a bend, you come to a small courtyard lit by a single lamp hung from an iron bracket. Its flicker casts dancing patterns across a mosaic floor depicting waves and dolphins, a nod to the sea god whose horses once galloped across the foam. You step onto the mosaic, and the lamp's light flickers brighter for a heartbeat, as though recognizing the laurel rod's presence. At the courtyard's far end stands a slim stone pillar, crowned with a carved wing. The wing's feathers are remarkably detailed, each barb delicately incised. You realize this must be the sacred stone the prophecy spoke of. You touch the carved wing, and the laurel rod thrums in response, a vibration you feel through your fingertips. You set the rod atop the pillar, its bronze loop settling around one of the carved feathers. Instantly, the air shifts. A soft breeze rises, swirling dust motes into miniature galaxies around you. The lamp's flame leaps upward, then settles as a steady glow. The path behind you, once hidden, now lies bathed in silver light, leading back toward the temple and beyond. Heart pounding, you step back and watch. Where the laurel rod intersects with the carved wing, a slender wisp of pale mist rises from the marble, curling upward. You remember that ancient priests believed mist to be the breath of the gods, a bridge between realms. The mist coalesces into a faint shape, the outline of a horse's head, its nostrils flaring, mane flowing as though caught in a sudden gust. Your breath catches. You grip the laurel rod tighter, grounding yourself against the wonder unfolding before you. The mist shape ripples, then solidifies further, petals of light forming along the contours of a shimmering wing. You sense movement in that stillness, a heartbeat, a breath, and then the courtyard is silent again, as if nothing happened, but you know it did. Your path has been blessed, your destiny whispered into stone and mist. The priestess's silent nod echoes in your mind, reminding you to carry this moment with reverence. You take one last look at the carved wing and the glowing rod, imprinting the scene in your memory. Then you tuck the rod into your satchel and turn toward the dark lane. The moonlight guides you as you retrace your steps to the temple, each shadow and leaf now familiar friends. Back beneath the columns, you pause and let the night's hush wash over you. The path you've walked feels both solid and ethereal, a dance between mortal feet and divine wings. You breathe deeply, feeling the laurel rod's warmth against your side, a steady promise of what will come when you call upon it. Moonlight and sacred stone have spoken. Your courage has answered. Now all that remains is to wait, to prepare, and to heed the silent guidance that will lead you to Pegasus. You wake before dawn again, the laurel rod tucked safely beneath your cloak, and your mind already dancing with the memory of the sparrow's flight. For a moment you lie still, listening to the hush of the empty streets beyond your window. Then you notice it, a soft glimmer at the foot of your bed. Heart hammering, you sit up and blink, half convinced moonlight is playing tricks on you. But no, there, on the floor lies a single feather, warm to the touch and glowing like bronze bathed in sunrise. You lean over, your fingertips brushing the barbs. The feather is impossibly light, every strand finer than spider silk, yet humming with a quiet energy. You lift it, cradle it between thumb and forefinger, and feel a gentle thrum, as though a tiny heartbeat pulses within. The shaft is hollow, carved lengthwise with tiny grooves that catch the fading traces of moonlight filtering through your shuttered window. You trace those grooves with your nail, curious, and find they form faint symbols, lines, and curves like a secret script. You press the feather to your cheek. Its warmth seeps into your skin, and you close your eyes, transported for a moment to the temple courtyard where the laurel rod guided you. There the carved stone wing and rod had whispered of mist and shape-shifting air. Here, in your simple chamber, this golden feather seems to carry the next piece of the puzzle. Settling onto the edge of your bed, you poke at the grooves until the symbols coalesce into recognizable shapes. An outline of two columns, a crescent moon perched between them, and an upward-pointing arrow that seems to suggest flight. Two columns, moonlight, flight, the temple entrance, perhaps, or the pillars framing the courtyard you pass through. You tuck the feather into the folds of your tunic, resolve kindling in your chest. You dress quickly in a simple tunic dyed the color of wheat. Pull on your sandals and wrap your cloak around your shoulders. In the lamplight, you take one last look at the feather, now quiet but still warm, and feel something shift inside you. Certainty. The clue you needed has found you, and the path forward is clearer than ever. Outside, the air is laced with the briny tang of the sea and the soft murmur of distant waves. You make your way through silent alleys toward the temple, feather tucked safely against your heart. Along the way, a baker preps his ovens, setting wooden paddles against the hearth with a thud that reminds you of a heartbeat steady, insistent. You smile, feeling the rhythm echo your own rising anticipation. Arriving at the temple, you pause at the outer courtyard. The two great columns loom overhead, their acanthus capitals frosted with a pale coat of moon-dusted marble chips. You recall how Greek engineers in the 5th century BCE perfected the use of lead anchors to bind multi-ton stone blocks together, a technique that helped temples survive earthquakes for centuries. You chuckle at the thought of gods worrying about structural integrity. But then again, if you were made of stone and gold, you'd want to stay upright too. You slip between the columns, moving to the spot where the moonlight pooled the previous night. The laurel rod rests in your satchel. You don't need it yet. The air here feels cooler, As if drawn into the sanctuary by some hidden draught, you draw the feather from your tunic and hold it aloft. The grooves glow softly, casting a sliver of light across the marble floor. You bend to study the patterned two columns, moon, arrow, and lift your gaze to the courtyard beyond. There, between another pair of columns near the southern wall, the moonlight falls just behind a small mosaic of winged creatures, griffins, perhaps, or hippocamps. You walk toward them, feather guiding your steps like a lantern. When you reach the mosaic, you kneel and lay the feather across its edge. Nearly at once, you feel the feather's warmth surge, and the grooves illuminate fully, shining a pale gold. The mosaic's tiles shift imperceptibly beneath your hand. A crack appears where none existed before, splitting the image of the creature's wing. You push lightly, and a small stone panel slides aside, revealing a shallow niche carved into the temple's foundation. You catch your breath and grip the feather tighter. This is the kind of thing you probably wouldn't survive if you weren't destined for it. Inside the niche rests a small bronze mirror, polished to a gleaming surface. It reflects the moonlight, and the feathers glow in dazzling dances. You lift the mirror carefully, turning it so that its rim catches the moonbeam. Through the mirror's reflection, you see symbols etched around its edge: a horse's hoofprint, a star, and the curve of a crescent. You sit back on your heels and let the symbols sink in. Hoofprint, star, moon. Not far away, past the temple's outer walls, lies the hill of Acrocorinth, its summit crowned by a fortress of rough stone. You recall that in times of siege, defenders would roll massive boulders down its slopes to repel attackers, a rather effective if messy tactic. Perhaps this mirror and feather combination points you toward that rocky outcrop where sky and stone meet. You replace the mirror in the niche and slide the stone panel back into place, testing the fit until it clicks snugly. The mosaic's image snaps back seamlessly, as if no panel were ever disturbed. You linger a moment, pressing your palm to the marble, feeling the ancient stone's lingering warmth from countless pilgrims' touches. Clutching the golden feather and unrolling the laurel rod, you hurry from the temple courtyard and back into the night. The cool breeze carries the scent of jasmine again, threading through the columns like a confidant. You hurry across the plaza, past the silent statue of Perine's lion-head fountain, and toward the road leading up the hillside. Your feet pound the packed earth, sending puffs of dust swirling around you. The path winds upward through scrubby bushes and gnarled olive trees, whose twisted trunks glint silver in the moonlight. At one turn, you stumble over a protruding root and nearly topple, your own reminder that mortal legs must match mortal wings if you're to complete this quest. You right yourself and smile, shaking out the tension in your limbs. Higher you climb, the city lights shrinking behind you, like fireflies gathering on distant rooftops. The air grows cooler, scented with wild thyme and a subtle hint of warm stone, absorbing daylight's heat. You look up to see the fortress's silhouette against the night sky, its ramparts dark but unmistakable. Above it, stars wheel overhead as though performing a silent ballet. You pause at a small plateau, catching your breath and taking in the scene. The city glows below. The sea beyond is a ribbon of ink. The feather's warmth throbs against your chest, and you tuck it back under your cloak. In your other hand, the laurel rod feels steady, its bronze loop gleaming faintly. Drawing a deep breath, you continue upward toward the fortress gate. You steady yourself against a stone wall, brushing off specks of dust, and glance skyward. The ridge you aim for is crowned by another pair of columns, remnants of an ancient watchtower that once signaled ships in the harbor. You recall that one of the earliest uses of signal fires dates back to the Trojan war legends, when beacons blinked warnings across great distances. Tonight, perhaps those same columns will signal your arrival in a way that only a winged horse could appreciate. With renewed determination, you press on, each step measured and sure. The wind at the summit picks up, tugging at your cloak and whispering through the broken columns. You reach the crest and find the twin pillars standing like silent sentinels beneath the stars. Between them, a flat stone platform catches the moonlight, warming under its beam. You step onto the platform and place both the feather and the laurel rod at its center. A hush falls over the world as if the night itself holds its breath. You feel a faint tremor beneath your feet, like the ground recognizing the gathering of divine will. Then, high above, a breeze sweeps through the pillars, and you hear it, the soft, distant echo of wings. Your heart leaps. The clues in the golden feather and the bronze mirror have led you here, to this summit where stone and sky touch. You press your palm to the cool platform, whispering a vow of courage and humility, and waiting in that hushed moment, you feel the promise of flight stirring in the air around you. You rest on the summit long after the echo of wings fades into the night air. The city below sleeps, its soft murmurs carried on the breeze like lullabies, but your mind races with everything you've uncovered so far. The golden feather, the laurel rod, the shimmering mosaic, and the silent priestess all seem threads woven into a tapestry that only you can unravel. You lean back against one of the cold stone pillars, the rough texture grounding you after the whirlwind of revelations. The wind picks up, teasing your hair and tugging at your cloak, and you close your eyes to listen. The rustle of olive trees mingles with the faint call of a night bird. It's peaceful here, perched between earth and sky, but you know that peace is fragile. Tomorrow, or maybe even tonight, the real journey will begin, the one that requires more than symbols and signs. It will demand courage, trust, and a leap into the unknown. After a while, you rise and begin your descent, careful not to lose your footing on the uneven path. As you near the city gates, the first hints of dawn bleed into the sky-pale blues, melting into soft pinks and golds. The merchants begin setting up their stalls, and the city hums back to life. You feel a strange sense of dissonance, as if you've slipped between two worlds, one of dreams and mysteries, and one of everyday noise and sunlight. Back at your humble home, you carefully place the feather and laurel rod on your wooden table. They seem ordinary enough in the daylight, delicate and cool, but you know their true power lies hidden beneath the surface. You pull out the scroll once more and read the prophecy again. Seek the echo of wing beat where moonlight meets sacred stone. The words resonate with new meaning now, like a song you're just beginning to remember. You run your fingers over the parchment, feeling the rough texture of the ancient paper. It strikes you that in this quest, every detail counts, from the smallest feather to the softest whisper. Even the most ordinary moments could hold the key to what's next. Later, you sit by the window, gazing out at the bustling streets below. The smells of fresh bread and roasted lamb mingle with the sharp scent of sea salt carried on the morning breeze. You watch a group of children playing with a worn wooden hoop, their laughter bright and carefree. For a moment, you envy their innocence, free from the weight of destiny. But then you remind yourself that every hero begins as a child, and every flight starts with a single step. You stretch out your legs and lean back in your chair, feeling the comforting creak of the wood beneath you. The morning sun warms your skin, through the open window, and the world outside seems full of possibility and hidden magic. You smile to yourself, knowing that your story is only just beginning. As the day wears on, you prepare for what lies ahead. You sharpen your spear, clean your leather sandals, and braid your hair in the style favored by warriors. You know that soon you'll need more than courage. You'll need skill, patience, and a steady hand. But for now, you allow yourself a moment of calm, a breath between the pages of fate. Night will come again soon, bringing with it the chance to follow the whispering winds and chase the echo of wings. You settle your things, ready to heed the call when the moon rises once more. The road may be long and fraught with danger, but beneath the vast sky and the watchful stars, you feel a quiet strength growing within you. You close your eyes and imagine the feel of feathers brushing against your skin, the rush of wind beneath powerful wings, and the boundless freedom of the sky. It's a vision that steadies your soul and fuels your hope. Tomorrow, you'll meet Pegasus, and maybe, just maybe, you'll soar. The sun has just slipped below the horizon when you make your way toward the royal stables. The air thick with the scent of hay and worn leather. The twilight sky is streaked with deep purples and fading golds, and the first stars begin to prick the heavens. Your heart pounds with a mixture of excitement and nervousness, every step heavier with the weight of what you hope to find behind those massive wooden gates. You pause before the tall, iron-studded doors, feeling the rough grain of the wood beneath your fingertips. The stables are alive with the muffled sounds of restless hooves, snorts, and the occasional creak of a stall door. You've heard whispers about the winged horse kept here, a creature so majestic it seems to belong to the gods themselves, but nothing prepares you for the first glimpse. The doors swing open with a low groan, and you step inside, the warm, earthy smell of horses enveloping you. The light from flickering oil lamps casts long shadows across the straw-covered floor. And then you see Pegasus. The winged horse stands in the largest stall, a creature of pure myth-made flesh. Its coat gleams like polished pearl, muscles rippling beneath its smooth skin. The wings are enormous, feathers layered like the finest silk, gleaming faintly under the lamplight. You notice the veins in the wings, delicate yet strong, pulsing with a quiet energy. Pegasus's eyes, deep and intelligent, meet yours with an almost human understanding. You take a cautious step forward, and the horse shifts, nostrils flaring as if sensing your presence. There's a tension in the air, a wildness barely contained. You remind yourself that this is no ordinary steed. It's a creature born from the breath of gods and the dreams of heroes. The very sight of Pegasus makes your breath catch. Your hand trembles as you reach out, and the horse lowers its head, allowing your fingers to brush the silky mane. The warmth of its skin feels like sun-warmed marble, solid and comforting. You remember the golden feather tucked safely in your satchel, a token that somehow connects you to this magnificent being. A sudden noise from the other side of the stable startles you, both a clatter of hooves, a shouted command, and Pegasus snorts, wings flickering as if preparing to take flight. You freeze, heart racing, and the horse's eyes search yours for calm. Slowly, you lower your hand and step back, giving it space. You know this encounter is just the beginning. The bond between rider and winged horse is forged not in moments, but through trust earned over time. For now, you watch Pegasus settle, the tension easing as the creature lowers its wings and relaxes. Outside, the King's Guards patrol, their footsteps echoing faintly against the stone walls. You've heard that King Pritus is the one who controls access to Pegasus, and rumors say he sets impossible tasks to those who seek the horse's power. You steel yourself for what might come, knowing that every challenge will be a test of your resolve. As you turn to leave the stables, the soft rustle of feathers follows you, and you realize Pegasus watches you still, the spark of something unspoken flickering in its gaze. It's a moment of silent understanding, an invitation to the adventure that lies ahead. You step out into the cool night air, heart full of hope and uncertainty. The journey with the winged horse has begun, and nothing will ever be the same. The morning sun peeks over the city walls as you stand before King Pretus's grand hall. The heavy oak doors towering above you, the air is thick with tension, your hands clenched tightly at your sides. You've heard the king is not one to give gifts freely, and the price of Pegasus's trust will likely be steep. Your mind races, wondering what impossible task he might demand, and whether you'll have the strength to face it. The doors creak open, revealing the king seated on a throne carved from olive wood, his expression a mix of suspicion and curiosity. Draped in rich fabrics, his crown gleams under the hall's torchlight. But his eyes are sharp, testing you as if you were a blade waiting to be forged or broken. "Speak," he commands, voice deep and unyielding. "Why do you seek the winged horse?" Voice steady despite the pounding in your chest. "I seek to rise beyond the mortal bounds and fulfill what the gods have whispered in dreams. Prove your worth by capturing the golden bridle of the sea stallion in Poseidon's coral stables." A spark ignites. This is the challenge you've been preparing for, the test that will mark the beginning of your true journey. You nod solemnly, accepting the king's decree. "Prepare yourself," the king intones. "You have 3 days before the tide's fullest pull. Fail, and you will serve as a warning to others who seek to claim what is not theirs." You gather scraps of leather and gold threads, weaving them into the shape of a bridle that might fit a creature born of both sea and storm. You recall the golden threads woven into Athena's own armor in dreams, and hope some of that divine protection will carry over. The nights blur as you prepare, practicing your grip, reinforcing your resolve, and envisioning the sea stallion's mane rippling beneath the waves. Each evening you stare at the scroll, the prophecy echoing in your mind. Seek the echo of wingbeat where moonlight meets sacred stone. The echo now takes on new meaning, intertwined with the roar of the sea and the shimmer of the bridle you must claim. On the 3rd night you stand ready at the shore, the tide rising beneath a silvered moon. The ocean's breath mingles with your own, salty and sharp. You clutch the golden bridle tightly, your fingers steady despite the chill. The water beckons, mysterious and endless, and somewhere beneath its surface waits the task that will shape your fate. You step forward, heart beating fiercely, ready to face the sea stallion and earn Pegasus's trust through fire and water alike. You work through the day crafting the golden bridle, every braid of the thread painstakingly woven with care and hope. The gold gleams softly under your touch, catching the light in a way that almost feels alive. As you shape the delicate strands into intricate loops and knots, you imagine Athena's blessing flowing through your fingers, weaving protection and power into the bridle. You whisper prayers between your breaths, each word a promise to the goddess that you will not fail. The leather beneath your hands is supple and cool, dyed with the sap of the ancient trees that line the hills outside the city. You soften it carefully, bending and shaping it to fit a creature far larger and more spirited than any ordinary horse. The task feels impossible at times, as if the bridle itself is a living thing resisting your efforts but you persist, fueled by the memory of Pegasus's steady gaze and the wild promise in his wings. When the bridle is finally complete, you hold it up to the fading sun, watching as the golden threads catch the last light of day. It feels weightless yet powerful, a symbol of the bond you hope to forge with the winged horse. You tuck it into your satchel, heart pounding with a mixture of pride and anticipation. That night, as you prepare for the journey to Poseidon's coral stables, you sit quietly, mind swirling with what lies ahead. The sea stallion is no ordinary beast. Stories tell of its mane rippling like living waves and hooves that strike like thunder against the ocean floor. You recall the rough stories traders tell, men swallowed by the sea, lost forever chasing dreams of glory. It's enough to make even the bravest hesitate. Still, you remind yourself that courage is not the absence of fear, but the strength to move forward despite it. You gather your cloak, the bridle safely packed, and sharpen your spear for protection. As you step outside, the night is calm, the stars twinkling like distant fires. The sea calls to you, a dark ribbon stretching endlessly toward the horizon. Your journey will take you through moonlit waves and shadowed reefs, past creatures that shimmer just beyond the edge of sight. You wonder what Pegasus is doing now, waiting, perhaps for your success or failure. You vow silently that you will not disappoint. The scent of salt and seaweed fills the air as you approach the rocky shore. The water is cool against your skin as you wade in, the bridle held tightly in your grasp. The moonlight dances on the waves, painting silver paths that stretch out to the horizon. Somewhere beneath that glowing surface lies the coral stables of Poseidon, home to the sea stallion and its precious golden bridle. Your breath comes steady, heart pounding like a drum. You step deeper into the water, each step a pulse of determination. The ocean shifts beneath you, mysterious and alive, and somewhere in its depths your challenge awaits. You take a final breath, clutch the bridle close, and prepare to face the impossible. Under the moon's silver gaze, you slip silently into the water, each step taking you farther from the familiar shore and deeper into Poseidon's realm. The chill of the sea wraps around you like a shroud, and your breath forms small clouds in the cool night air. You adjust your grip on the golden bridle, feeling the weight of your mission settle into your bones. The coral stables are said to lie hidden beneath a jagged reef, a place where the sea god's creatures gather, wild and untamed. Your eyes strain against the darkness, searching for any sign of movement beneath the rippling surface. Suddenly, a shadow darts past, sleek and fast, like a living arrow of black and silver. You hold your breath, every muscle tensed as you wait. The sea stallion's presence feels close now, a thrum in the water, the echo of powerful hooves striking the ocean floor. You swim cautiously toward the reef, weaving between sharp coral spires that glisten with phosphorescent light. Strange shapes shimmer just beyond your sight-glowing fish, swaying kelp forests, and something larger, something ancient, watching from the depths. You sense eyes on you, creatures of the deep, curious or wary, but none approach. This realm belongs to the sea stallion and its kin. Ahead, the reef opens into a cavern beneath the waves. You pause at the threshold, heart pounding so fiercely it threatens to betray your presence. The cavern glows faintly with bioluminescent algae, casting an eerie, ghostly light over coral pillars and swirling sand. You slip inside, careful to disturb nothing, and your breath quickens in anticipation. There, tethered to a coral post, you glimpse the sea stallion, a magnificent creature with a shimmering mane that ripples like waves caught in a storm. Its coat glows faintly in the underwater light, scales shimmering along its neck, and its eyes burn with fierce intelligence. The golden bridle glints from a hook nearby, waiting for the one bold enough to claim it. You approach slowly, every movement deliberate. The sea stallion's gaze locks onto you, nostrils flaring as it senses your presence. It snorts, sending a plume of bubbles toward you, and stamps a hoof, sending a pulse through the sand. You feel the raw power beneath the creature's calm exterior, the wildness that refuses to be tamed. Your fingers brush the bridle's golden strands, cool and smooth beneath your touch. The moment stretches, fragile and electric. You steady your breath and reach out, clasping the bridle. The sea stallion's muscles tense, wings flickering in the water. With a sudden burst of energy, you hold fast, bracing against the rush. For a heartbeat, time seems to suspend. Then, with a force like a rising tide, the sea stallion pulls free, swimming in tight circles as you hang on. Waves crash above you, and the cavern seems to pulse with the creature's furious energy. You grip the bridle with every ounce of strength, matching its wild spirit with your own determination. Finally, the stallion slows, its fiery gaze softening into something like respect. It nudges you gently with its nose, a silent pact sealed beneath the waves. You know this is no mere conquest. It is a bond forged in courage and trust. With the bridle secure, you swim back through the cavern and emerge into the open water, the moonlight catching the golden strands as you break the surface. Your lungs burn and your muscles ache, but triumph surges through you. You have earned the sea stallion's bridle, and with it, the promise of Pegasus's trust. As you make your way back to shore, the cool breeze drying your skin, you feel a new strength growing inside you, a readiness for the trials yet to come. Tonight, the impossible has become possible. The night air is crisp as you slip back into the shadows near the city's edge, bridle clutched tightly in your hands. Every nerve buzzes with the aftermath of the sea stallion's wild energy, the rush of water, the strength beneath your fingers, and the quiet acknowledgement in its eyes. You tuck the bridle into your satchel, heart still pounding like a drumbeat that refuses to slow. Pegasus waits somewhere beyond the city's walls, his wings yearning for the freedom only you can offer. But first, you must tame that fierce spirit, bridging the gap between myth and reality. You wonder how such a bond can be formed, knowing that trust cannot be rushed or forced. The city sleeps beneath a blanket of stars as you approach the royal stables once more. The iron-studded gates creak softly in the night breeze, and your footsteps echo faintly on the stone path. The scent of hay and horse sweat fills the air, mingling with the faint aroma of lavender from the nearby gardens. Inside, Pegasus stands in his stall, a silhouette of strength and grace. His wings fold close, feathers ruffling softly as he senses your presence. You step forward, every movement measured and calm, holding the golden bridle in your hands like a sacred offering. Pegasus watches, nostrils flaring slightly as you approach. You reach out slowly, fingers trembling just enough to remind you of the weight of this moment. The horse lowers his head, and you slip the bridle over his mane, the golden threads settling like sunlight against his skin. For a moment, nothing moves but the gentle flick of Pegasus's wings. Then the air thickens with anticipation as he lifts his head, eyes shining with newfound recognition. You feel the steady pulse of his heart beneath your palm, wild yet trusting. You whisper words you don't fully understand but feel deeply promises of partnership, courage, and respect. Pegasus snorts softly, a puff of warm breath against your cheek. It's a quiet affirmation, the beginning of a bond forged not through force, but through mutual understanding. Outside, the first light of dawn tinges the horizon with pale pinks and golds. You and Pegasus stand together in the stable's quiet, two souls poised on the edge of legend. The journey ahead is uncertain, filled with dangers and challenges, but also with the promise of flight and freedom. You slide open the stable doors, and Pegasus steps out into the awakening world, wings unfurling with a graceful sweep. You mount gently, feeling the powerful muscles ripple beneath you. The ground seems to fall away as Pegasus rises, soaring into the soft morning sky. The city fades below, rooftops shrinking, and the air rushes past like a cool river. You hold on tight, heart swelling with the exhilaration of flight. The wind carries you higher, beyond worries and doubts, lifting you into a realm where anything feels possible. For now, you are one with Pegasus hero and winged steed united in a dance above the clouds. The horizon stretches endless and bright, and you realize this is only the beginning of a story that will be told for generations. The sky opens wide above you as Pegasus lifts higher, wings beating strong against the thin air. You feel the rush of cold wind whipping past your face, carrying the scent of pine and distant sea spray. The clouds roll beneath you like waves frozen in time, soft and billowy, and you reach out instinctively, fingers brushing the misty edges. Your heart pounds in your chest, equal parts exhilaration and disbelief. You are truly flying, soaring beyond the limits of earth and gravity. The weight of the world falls away, replaced by the endless blue that stretches to the horizon. For a moment, the worries and dangers of the days behind seem to vanish into the sky. Pegasus twists gracefully, wings catching shafts of sunlight that scatter like diamonds. You can feel the power coursing through his muscles, each beat lifting you higher, farther than any mortal has flown before. The wind sings in your ears, a wild and joyous song that echoes the beating of your own heart. You glance down and see the land unfolding like a living tapestry. Rivers winding through green valleys, rocky hills dusted with wildflowers, and tiny villages clustered like stars scattered across the earth. The scent of pine and earth drifts upward, mingling with the freshness of the clouds. You recall the ancient tales, how heroes rode Pegasus into battle, how the winged horse was a symbol of divine inspiration and boundless freedom. Now you are part of that legacy rider and steed, soaring beyond mortal bounds. The horizon calls, promising adventure, discovery, and the chance to prove your courage. Above, the sun climbs higher, warming your skin and casting the clouds into sharp relief. You lean forward, feeling the exhilaration pulse through your veins, a fierce joy that makes your spirit sing. There's no turning back now. The sky is your realm, and Pegasus is your wings. As you fly, you sense the echo of ancient wings beating in harmony with your own, an unspoken bond that ties you to the gods and heroes who came before. The world is vast, and your journey is just beginning. Every beat of Pegasus's wings carries you closer to the destiny written among the stars. The clouds part, revealing a glimpse of the rugged coast far below, a place of wild beauty and hidden dangers. You grip the reins tightly, ready for whatever awaits. With Pegasus beneath you, the impossible feels within reach, and your heart soars with the promise of the adventures yet to come. The wind rushes past you like a rushing river, cool and sharp against your skin. Every muscle in your body hums with the thrill of flight, and the scent of fresh air fills your lungs in deep, satisfying breaths. You lean into the motion, letting Pegasus's powerful wings carry you through the sky with effortless grace. It's as if you've stepped beyond the bounds of reality, into a place where the only limit is the stretch of the horizon. The clouds swirl beneath you, billowing and curling like great soft sculptures. You watch as they drift lazily past, the sunlight filtering through them in golden shafts that shimmer like liquid. The sensation is dizzying like floating on a river of light and air. You close your eyes briefly, savoring the sensation of pure freedom. Around you, the sky is a canvas painted with brilliant hues, pale blue fading to the deepest cobalt, flecks of white where the clouds gather, and the first hints of a distant storm's gray gathering on the edge of the horizon. You can hear the distant rumble, low and steady, like the beating of a great drum. The air feels charged, as if nature itself is holding its breath. You think back to the moment you first laid eyes on Pegasus, that perfect, untamed creature, and the long path that brought you here, dreams and prophecies, tests and trials, moments of doubt and bursts of courage. Now, up here in the sky, all those pieces fit together, forming a mosaic of purpose and destiny. The wind catches your hair, tangling it like strands of wild silk, and you reach up to brush it away from your face. There's a sharpness in the air, a cool bite that hints at the higher altitudes you're beginning to reach. You grip Pegasus's mane tightly, feeling the steady pulse of his heartbeat beneath your palm. Far below, the rugged coastline stretches out like a wild, untamed beast, cliffs tumbling into the restless sea. You spot the flash of white caps where waves crash against rock, and the deep green of pine forests climbing toward the mountains. The earth is beautiful from this height, vast and intricate, full of hidden corners and whispered secrets. Your mind drifts to the stories told by old sailors, the legends of monsters and spirits that dwell beyond the horizon. But here, riding the wind on wings of myth, those fears seem small and distant. Instead, you feel a sense of exhilaration, a yearning to explore every hidden valley, to touch every distant peak. Pegasus banks smoothly, wings arcing in a graceful sweep. The air fills with the soft rustle of feathers and the steady beat of wings. You lean forward, eyes bright with anticipation, ready to face whatever awaits beyond the clouds. This is the moment to taste of true freedom, the boundless possibility of flight. And as you soar higher, you know you're no longer just a mortal dreaming. You are a hero taking wing, carving your story across the endless sky. As you ride the endless sky, your thoughts drift to the ancient stories whispered by the bards. How Pegasus was born from the blood of Medusa, a creature of both beauty and terror. You imagine those first mighty beats of wings shaking the heavens and stirring the winds. Now, beneath you, the world stretches vast and alive, and you can almost feel the echo of those ancient flights stirring in the air around you. The sensation is intoxicating, a mixture of awe and wonder, laced with the thrill of being part of something much larger than yourself. You let your fingers trail along Pegasus's sleek neck, marveling at the power coiled beneath his skin. Every breath you take is sharp and clean, filled with the scent of open air and wild freedom. Below, the landscape shifts as you soar over rolling hills that ripple like waves across the earth. You see patches of golden wheat swaying in the breeze, distant villages nestled among olive groves, and rivers glinting like silver threads. It's a living mosaic of life and growth, ancient yet ever-changing. You recall the tales of heroes who rode Pegasus to victory and glory, how the winged horse carried them beyond the reach of mortal enemies and into the realm of legends. Now, as the wind whips past your face and the sun warms your back, you realize you are part of that lineage, riding the same wild winds that once lifted gods and warriors alike. A sudden gust carries the sharp tang of rain, and you glance toward the horizon where dark clouds gather, swirling with fierce energy. The sky churns like a tempest, waiting to be unleashed, and you tighten your grip, preparing for the challenge. Flying isn't just freedom, it's also survival, and you know the storm will test your strength and resolve. Pegasus beats his wings harder, muscles flexing as he cuts through the thickening air. Lightning flickers in the distance, a silent warning that the storm approaches fast. Your heart pounds in time with the powerful wing beats, a steady rhythm that matches the pulse of the storm itself. As you soar closer to the tempest, the wind whips your cloak and tears at your hair, but you feel alive in a way you never have before, free, fierce, and unyielding. The storm is not just a threat, it's a rite of passage, a proving ground for the bond between rider and steed. With a fierce cry, Pegasus dives into the heart of the storm, wings slicing through rain and thunder. You lean forward, eyes bright with determination, ready to face whatever challenges the sky will throw your way. This flight, wild and untamed, is your true baptism, an unforgettable leap into legend. Below you stretches Leisha, a wild land of craggy mountains and dense forests that spill toward the shimmering coast. From this height, the rugged terrain looks like a vast mosaic of earth and stone. Rivers snaking between cliffs and valleys, the sun casting long shadows that play across the landscape like a whispered secret. The scent of pine and salt drifts upward, mingling with the cool air as Pegasus glides effortlessly, wings steady against the rising breeze. You lean forward, eyes sharp, soaking in every detail. Villages dot the landscape, smoke curling from chimneys like thin ribbons against the fading light. The people below are unaware of the hero soaring above them, riding the wind on wings of legend. You wonder what stories they tell by their fires tonight, and if any speak of winged horses and the daring souls who ride them. The coastline curves gently, cliffs plunging into turquoise waves that sparkle like scattered jewels. The ocean's endless rhythm sings beneath you, a steady pulse that seems to call out across the distance. You spot fishing boats bobbing like leaves, their sails taut with the evening breeze. As you fly, a sudden shadow crosses the sun, a dark flicker against the bright sky. You look up to see a flock of birds wheeling in tight formations, their cries sharp and urgent. Pegasus stirs beneath you, nostrils flaring, muscles tensing for flight. The birds part around you, their wings beating a frenetic rhythm that stirs your own heart. Your thoughts shift to the dangers waiting ahead. The chimera, that terrible three-headed beast whose flames have terrorized these lands. You feel a chill despite the warm air, knowing your confrontation is near. The legends speak of her fury and cunning, her breath scorching the earth and sky alike. Pegasus dips low, skimming the treetops where the forest thickens and shadows deepen. The wind carries the faint smell of smoke and ash, signs of recent destruction. You grip the reins tighter, steeling yourself for what's to come. Below, the land trembles with distant roars and the crackle of flames. You rise higher, wings beating faster as you approach the chimera's lair, a dark cave etched into the mountain's side, smoke coiling like fingers into the sky. The air is thick with heat and danger. Your heart pounds fiercely as you prepare to face the fiery terror. You steady your breath and tighten your grip on your spear, ready to meet the challenge head-on. Pegasus's wings beat with renewed strength, and together you dive toward the shadowed entrance. This battle will test everything: your courage, your skill, and the bond forged between you and your winged companion. The moment of truth has arrived. and the story of your flight will be written in fire and courage. The wind roars in your ears as you approach the Chimera's lair, the air thick with smoke and the sharp tang of sulfur. Below you, the rocky ground is scorched and blackened, cracked like ancient pottery left too long in the fire. The beast's 3 heads emerge from the shadows, each snarling, each wild with fury. One head breathes smoke, another spits flickering flames, and the third snaps its jagged jaws with a terrifying hiss. Pegasus flares his mighty wings, muscles rippling beneath his pearly coat, lifting you just out of reach of the Chimera's burning breath. Your heart races, adrenaline flooding your veins, sharpening every sense. You grip your spear tightly, the wooden shaft warm and steady in your hands, and lean forward, eyes locked on the monstrous heads below. The Chimera's roar shakes the cliffs, a sound like thunder rolling through a canyon. It lunges, flames licking the air, but Pegasus twists in midair, dodging with the grace of a dancer. You feel the heat singe your hair as you steady your aim. The battle has begun. You scan for a weakness, eyes flicking between the creature's heads and body. The middle head seems slower, its fiery breath sputtering now and then. You spot a glimmer of vulnerability, a soft spot beneath the flaming mane, where the beast's scales part, just enough for your spear to find purchase. Taking a deep breath, you lean down, spear poised. Pegasus dips lower, wings beating with controlled power as you aim for the spot. The Chimera snaps its jaws again, but your spear flies true, piercing the soft flesh. The beast howls in pain, thrashing wildly, flames sputtering as it reels back. Pegasus circles, giving you room to recover and strike again. The beast's fiery breath becomes erratic, smoke curling in thick black plumes. You realize this is your chance. With a fierce cry, you thrust your spear again, this time striking deeper. The Chimera falters, its heads thrashing and snarling in desperation. Finally, with one last agonized roar, the Chimera collapses, smoke billowing from its nostrils. The cave falls silent, save for the soft hiss of cooling embers. You and Pegasus hover above, hearts pounding but victorious. The land beneath you seems to breathe again, the scorch marks fading with the dying heat. You feel the weight of what you've done settle in your chest, a mixture of relief and triumph. Pegasus nuzzles your side gently, a silent congratulations between companions who have faced fire and emerged unscathed. You look toward the horizon where the first light of dawn breaks, painting the sky with soft pinks and golds. The journey is far from over, but this battle has proven you more than worthy. You and Pegasus have tasted victory together, your bond stronger than ever. With renewed determination, you prepare to return to Corinth, knowing the city awaits your triumphant arrival. The path ahead holds many challenges, but for now, you savor this hard-won moment of peace. The cavern's smoke slowly dissipates as you and Pegasus rise from the scorched battlefield, the first light of dawn casting long shadows across the rugged mountainside. The air is thick with the scent of charred earth and singed foliage, but beneath it, a sense of calm begins to settle. The fierce heat of the Chimera's fire fades, replaced by the soft whisper of morning breeze weaving through the pines. You grip the reins tightly, feeling the steady heartbeat of Pegasus beneath you, a reminder that the bond forged in battle remains unbroken. Together you soar higher, leaving behind the smoldering lair and the echoes of a fight that tested every ounce of your courage and strength. Below, the landscape slowly awakens. Birds begin their morning songs, their calls ringing clear and sweet across the valley. The smoke curls upward in lazy tendrils, merging with the mist rising from the forests. You breathe deeply, savoring the fresh air after the stifling heat and smoke. As you glide over the hills, your mind turns to Corinth and the journey ahead. The city's white marble columns gleam in the sunlight, a stark contrast to the wildness you just left behind. You imagine the faces of the people, their cheers and admiration waiting for you upon your return. Yet beneath that excitement, a quiet nervousness settles in. You know the trials aren't over, and the gods watch closely. Pegasus dips his wings, riding a current of warm air as you approach the outskirts of the city. The scent of salt water drifts in from the nearby sea, mingling with the rich aroma of fresh bread and olive oil from the bustling marketplaces. Life pulses beneath you, a vibrant tapestry of sounds and colors. You land softly near the city gates, the cobblestones cool beneath Pegasus's hooves. The world feels both familiar and new, changed by your journey and the victories won. You dismount, heart pounding, and run a hand over Pegasus's shining coat, feeling the strength and warmth beneath your touch. The city gates swing open to welcome you, and you step forward, ready to face whatever awaits. The road ahead is lined with familiar faces, friends, allies, and curious onlookers, all drawn to the promise of a hero returned. You hold your head high, the golden bridle gleaming at your side, a symbol of the bond and bravery that brought you here. As you move through the crowd, you catch whispers of amazement and admiration. The stories of your battle with the Chimera have already begun to spread, and you feel a swell of pride mingled with humility. You know this is only a chapter in a larger tale, one still unfolding beneath the watchful eyes of the gods. For now, you allow yourself a moment to bask in the warmth of victory and the quiet thrill of knowing you have earned your place among legends. The city's cheers fade behind you as you ride Pegasus through winding streets, the glow of torches flickering against ancient stone walls. Your pulse races, matching the rhythmic beat of hooves striking cobblestone. Every face turns toward you, their eyes wide with awe and hope. You sense the weight of expectation pressing down, a mantle heavier than any armor you've worn. Yet beneath the heavy gaze lies a spark of shared belief that you and Pegasus have brought something miraculous back to Corinth. You guide Pegasus toward the grand plaza, where banners ripple in the evening breeze. Lanterns hang like stars strung between columns, casting a soft golden light over the gathering crowd. Musicians tune their lyres and flutes, the air thick with anticipation and the scent of roasting lamb and fresh bread. You breathe in deeply, the richness of the moment grounding you. A chorus of voices rises, singing praises to your bravery and the winged horse that has now become a symbol of hope and freedom. You raise a hand in greeting, your heart swelling with a fierce pride tempered by humility. The path ahead remains uncertain, but for now you stand at the center of a story that will be told for generations. The city elders step forward, robes flowing like rivers of midnight and ivory. Their faces are etched with lines of wisdom and experience, eyes gleaming with a mix of respect and challenge. The eldest among them, a man with a beard as white as snow and eyes like storm clouds, raises his staff and speaks. His voice carries through the plaza, steady and commanding. "Bellerophon," he intones, "you have returned from the brink, bearing the bridle of the sea stallion and riding the wings of legend. Your courage has saved our lands from terror, and your bond with Pegasus shines as a beacon for all." As the ceremony unfolds, you catch glimpses of familiar faces, friends, who have stood by you, allies who have lent their strength, and strangers whose lives will now be touched by the ripples of your deeds. You recognize the weight of responsibility settling on your shoulders, heavier than the spear at your side. After the formalities, the celebrations swell into a festival of light and sound. Dancers twirl beneath the moonlit sky, their movements echoing the flight of wings. You watch, entranced by the swirling patterns, the harmony of motion and music. It feels as if the city itself breathes in rhythm with your own heartbeat. Later, you find a quiet moment beneath the olive trees that border the plaza. The cool night air carries the scent of jasmine and earth, and you close your eyes, letting the sounds of the festival wash over you. Pegasus rests nearby, his powerful body relaxed but alert. You run a hand along his mane, the soft warmth grounding you. Your thoughts drift to the road ahead, the trials still to come, the dangers lurking beyond the horizon. The gods are not easily satisfied, and your journey is far from over. Yet, in this moment, beneath the stars and the watchful eyes of Corinth, you find strength in the bond you share with Pegasus and the knowledge that you have earned your place in legend. You rise, feeling the steady beat of hooves beneath you, ready to face whatever the future holds. The night hums with possibility, and as you look to the sky, you feel the stirrings of a destiny that will carry you beyond the known world. The echoes of your flight will resonate through time, carried on the wings of stories yet to be told. The first light of dawn spills gently over Corinth's rooftops as you and Pegasus prepare for the next stage of your journey. The city's celebration has faded into a soft hum, replaced by the quiet stirrings of a new day. You sit atop your winged companion, the golden bridle resting against his mane like a promise yet fulfilled. Your heart is heavy with the weight of what's to come, but your spirit is steady, bolstered by the bond you share. As Pegasus stretches his wings, the feathers catch the early sun, shimmering like liquid gold. You feel a surge of pride mixed with apprehension. The victories so far are but chapters in a story that still unfolds. The road ahead will test your resolve, demanding more than strength. It will ask for wisdom, patience, and humility. You guide Pegasus toward the city gates, which stand open to the world beyond. The air is crisp and cool, carrying the scents of earth and sea. Ye blooming flowers and distant fires. As you lift off, the ground falls away beneath you, and the city shrinks to a patchwork of rooftops and winding streets. The familiar fades, replaced by the vastness of sky and earth. The wind whips past your face, cold and exhilarating. You lean forward, fingers tightening on the reins, feeling the power beneath you. Pegasus rises steadily, wings cutting through the clouds with practiced ease. The horizon beckons, a shifting line of mountains and valleys that promise new challenges and discoveries. Below, the world is alive with color and movement. Forests stretch like emerald carpets, rivers glittering like ribbons of light weaving through the land. You spot distant villages, smoke curling from chimneys, and fields dotted with farmers tending their crops. Life continues below, unaware of the winged rider soaring above. Your thoughts turn to the gods, watching from their lofty thrones. Their favor is fickle, their judgment swift and final. You know that arrogance can be your undoing, and so you whisper a prayer for guidance and protection. The laurel rod and golden feather tucked in your satchel serve as reminders of the sacred path you walk. As the sun climbs higher, the landscape shifts from lush valleys to rugged mountains. The air grows thinner, colder, and you feel the strain of altitude pressing against your chest. Pegasus's wings beat steadily, muscles rippling with effort. You marvel at his strength, the wild grace that carries you through the thinning air. Ahead, dark clouds gather, swirling with storm and shadow. The sky seems to pulse with energy, the air electric with anticipation. You brace yourself, knowing that the challenges will grow fiercer as you approach the realm where mortals seldom tread. The first raindrops fall, cold and sharp, and Pegasus dips his wings to catch the currents. Lightning forks across the sky, a dazzling display of raw power. You tighten your grip, heart racing, eyes fixed on the tempest. This is no ordinary storm. It feels like a test, a trial designed to measure your courage and resolve. Together you dive into the storm's heart, wings slicing through rain and wind. The roar of thunder surrounds you, a fierce chorus that drowns out all other sound. Your grip falters for a moment, but Pegasus's steady rhythm steadies your nerves. You lean forward, eyes bright with determination. The storm rages around you, wild and unyielding. Lightning flashes illuminate the dark clouds, revealing fleeting glimpses of jagged peaks and swirling mists below. You feel the raw power of nature, untamed and unforgiving. And yet, within the chaos, there is a strange beauty, a dance of light and shadow, a symphony of wind and rain. You are part of this dance now, rider and steed moving as one through the storm's fury. Hours pass like minutes as you navigate the tempest, muscles burning, breath coming in sharp gasps. But neither you nor Pegasus falters. The storm is fierce, but your resolve is fiercer. Finally, the clouds begin to break, revealing a sky washed clean and bright. The sun emerges, casting golden light across the wet landscape. Below, a valley opens before you, lush and vibrant, cradled between towering peaks. You and Pegasus descend toward this new land, the storm's trials behind you, but their lessons etched deep in your soul. The journey continues, the story unfolding with every beat of wings and step of hoof. You are no longer just a mortal dreaming. You are a hero, bound to a winged steed, soaring toward a destiny written in the stars. You touch down gently at the edge of the valley, the soft grass cushioning Pegasus's hooves as he lowers his wings. The air here is thick with the scent of wildflowers and fresh earth, a stark contrast to the storm you just endured. The valley stretches out before you, a patchwork of meadows and groves framed by jagged cliffs that rise like ancient sentinels. The world feels vast and alive, humming with unseen energy. You dismount carefully, feeling the warmth of the earth beneath your sandals. Pegasus shakes his wings, sending a cascade of dew and feathers scattering in the morning light. You stroke his mane, marveling at the power and grace held within this creature, so wild and yet so bound to you. As you explore the valley, the quiet hum of life surrounds you. Birds flit between trees, their songs weaving a gentle melody that fills the air. A stream winds through the meadow, its waters clear and cold, inviting you to pause and drink. You kneel by the bank, cupping the refreshing liquid in your hands, savoring the taste of untouched nature. Your thoughts wander to the people of Corinth, their cheers and prayers echoing in your memory. They believe in you, in Pegasus, in the bond that has turned legend into reality. The weight of that faith grounds you, reminding you that this journey is not just about flight or fame. It's about hope, courage, and the stories that bind us. The valley's tranquility is broken by a distant rumble, low and ominous. You look up to see dark clouds gathering once more, their edges tinged with fire. The storm has not finished with you yet. Pegasus senses it too, his ears twitching, muscles tensing. You mount quickly, ready to face whatever comes. As you prepare to take flight, a figure emerges from the shadows of the trees, a traveler cloaked in worn robes, eyes sharp and curious. He offers a nod of recognition, a silent acknowledgement of the journey you've undertaken. You return the nod, feeling the unspoken bond of those who walk paths of destiny. Together you rise into the sky, wings catching the shifting winds. The valley falls away beneath you, swallowed by clouds and mist. Ahead lies the next challenge, the unknown stretching out like a canvas, waiting for your story. The days blur as you and Pegasus journey onward through mountain passes, etched with ancient runes, across deserts shimmering with heat, and over seas that glitter like spilled stars. Each step and wing beat brings new trials and revelations, shaping you into a hero worthy of the legends told in hushed tones by firelight. You learn to trust Pegasus not just as a steed, but as a companion, a partner whose instincts and strength balance your own. Together you navigate dangers both natural and supernatural, facing beasts and shadows that test your courage and wit. At night, beneath endless skies thick with stars, you reflect on the path you've taken, the dreams that led you here, the battles fought, and the bonds forged in fire and flight. The laurel rod and golden feather rest beside you, silent reminders of the divine favor and mortal will intertwined in your quest. As the journey continues, you realize that true heroism is not just in victory, but in the courage to keep moving forward, to face the unknown with open heart and steady hand. Pegasus's wings carry you toward a destiny still unfolding, a story written on the winds and in the hearts of those who dare to dream. And so, with the horizon endless and the sky vast, you soar on rider and winged steed united, ready to write the next chapter of your legend. Pride swells within you like a rising tide as you gaze toward the distant peaks of Olympus, their summits veiled in mist and mystery. The air here is thin and crisp, each breath sharp and invigorating. You sit astride Pegasus, wings folded momentarily, as the weight of your recent victories settles over you. The city of Corinth fades behind you, its cheers replaced by the quiet grandeur of the mountains that stretch endlessly before. Your heart beats strong with the rush of accomplishment, the glow of the golden bridle warming your side. Yet beneath that flame, a subtle whisper coils an urging to reach higher, to soar beyond the limits set by mortals and gods alike. It's a temptation as old as the sky itself, calling to you with the promise of glory and the risk of ruin. The winds shift, playful and fierce, tugging at your cloak and ruffling your hair. You smile, feeling the familiar pull of the open air and the boundless freedom it offers. Pegasus stamps the rocky ground beneath you, wings unfurling with a powerful sweep that scatters pebbles like falling stars. The mountain path ahead beckons, a jagged ribbon curling through clouds and crags. You rise with Pegasus, the world slipping away beneath your soaring flight. The peaks grow closer, their sheer faces carved by time and storm. The sun glints off ice and stone, casting prisms of light that dance across your vision. You reach out, fingers brushing the cold air, and feel a shiver of anticipation. As you ascend, the thinness of the air presses against your chest, and your breath comes in ragged bursts. Pegasus's wings beat steadily, muscles taut with effort, carrying you higher into the realm of gods and dreams. You sense the gaze of Olympus's inhabitants, silent watchers perched beyond mortal reach, eyes that burn with both curiosity and caution. Your thoughts drift to the ancient Thales, warnings of those who dared to climb too high. The hubris of Icarus, wings melting in the sun's fury, serves as a shadow at the edge of your mind. You tighten your grip on the reins, determination hardening like steel. You are not Icarus. You are a rider forged in trials, tempered by fire and flight. The clouds thicken, swirling in tumultuous eddies, and the sky darkens with sudden storms. Lightning crackles, a jagged line tearing through the heavens. Pegasus responds with a fierce cry, wings beating a steady rhythm against the roaring wind. You lean into the tempest, heart pounding in time with thunder's drum. Every gust threatens to unseat you, every flash of lightning a challenge to your resolve. Yet in the chaos, you find clarity, a fierce focus that cuts through the storm like a blade. Pegasus's wings beat with unwavering strength, carrying you through the tempest's heart. At the storm's peak, the world blurs into a dizzying swirl of wind and rain. You clutch the reins tighter, eyes fixed on the distant sun breaking through the clouds, a beacon of hope amid the fury. The storm rages around you, but you and Pegasus press on, bound by a trust forged through countless trials. Finally, the storm relents, clouds parting to reveal a sky washed clean and bright. The sun shines warm on your face, and the peaks of Olympus gleam like jewels against the horizon. You exhale, relief and triumph mingling in your chest. Yet even as you bask in victory, a quiet warning lingers. The gods watch still, and your journey is far from over. The path ahead is both a promise and a peril, a delicate balance between ambition and humility. You urge Pegasus forward, wings catching the light as you soar toward the summit. The horizon stretches endless and bright, a canvas awaiting the next stroke of your legend. With steady heart and soaring spirit, you rise ready to meet whatever awaits beyond the clouds. The air thins and sharpens as you push higher into the upper reaches of the sky, where the clouds grow dense and swirling like oceans caught in a tempest. Pegasus's powerful wings slice through the mist, feathers trembling against the biting wind. Your breath comes in shallow gasps, each inhale a cold rush that bites at your lungs. The sun is a distant glow, obscured by roiling gray, and the world below is swallowed in shadow and storm. You lean forward, gripping the reins as the tempest tightens its grip. Lightning flashes like fireflies caught in a furious dance, illuminating the storm's wrath. Thunder crashes in endless waves, a rolling roar that threatens to drown out your own heartbeat. But you and Pegasus press on, a single force against the fury of the sky. Each wing beat is a battle, every gust a test of endurance. The wind howls, tugging at your cloak and whipping hair into your eyes. Your muscles scream, straining against the unrelenting assault. Yet beneath the pain, a fierce joy burns. This is what it means to fly, to defy the limits, to dance on the edge of mortal possibility. Suddenly, the storm's fury crescendos. A bolt of lightning streaks dangerously close, searing the air with its raw power. Pegasus shudders beneath you, wings beating faster, wings like thunderclaps propelling you higher. You clutch the saddle tightly, eyes narrowed against the driving rain and stinging wind. Then, just as suddenly as it began, the tempest breaks. The clouds shatter, spilling shards of sunlight that scatter like jewels across the sky. The air grows still, a hush settling over the heavens, as if the storm itself holds its breath. Below, the world stretches vast and calm, the valleys and rivers gleaming in the soft light. You exhale deeply, the tension leaving your body in a slow, shivering release. Pegasus's wings fold gently against his sides as you soar in the serene aftermath. The storm's memory lingering like a distant echo. The sky feels vast and open once more, a boundless expanse filled with promise. Ahead, the peak of Olympus rises like a throne carved from clouds and stone, bathed in golden light. The mountain calls to you, a silent summons to ascend beyond the realm of mortals and into the domain of gods. Your heart races with a mixture of awe and determination. You know this final ascent is not just a test of strength, but a journey of spirit. The higher you climb, the thinner the air and the stronger the pull of the divine. Every breath is a challenge. Every beat of Pegasus's wings a step closer to a destiny writ large in the heavens. As you near the summit, the air shimmers with an otherworldly glow. The clouds part to reveal a plateau of gleaming marble, etched with ancient symbols and crowned by a temple whose pillars rise like spears into the sky. The silence here is profound, filled with the weight of countless prayers and the echoes of forgotten legends. You land softly, hooves barely making a sound on the polished stone. The world feels sacred and still, as if time itself pauses to honor your arrival. You dismount, heart pounding, and gaze up at the temple's massive doors, carved with scenes of gods and heroes, winged creatures, and celestial battles. This is the threshold, the final boundary between mortal trials and divine reckoning. You step forward, the laurel rod and golden feather heavy with meaning in your satchel. Every step resonates with the weight of your journey, the hopes of those who believe in you, and the promise of the wings yet to be earned. As the temple doors swing open silently, a hush falls over the mountain. You enter, ready to face whatever awaits beyond, knowing that your flight, your legend, is only just beginning. The temple's cool marble floor sends a shiver through your bare feet as you step inside, the heavy doors closing silently behind you. The air here is thick with the scent of burning incense and ancient stone, a stillness so deep it hums with unseen energy. Your eyes adjust to the dim light cast by flickering oil lamps, revealing towering columns carved with stories older than memory. You walk slowly, absorbing the weight of history and divinity that presses gently but insistently on your shoulders. The walls seem to whisper in voices both distant and familiar, voices that speak of honor, sacrifice, and the thin line between mortal ambition and divine favor. Each step echoes softly, a measured rhythm in this sacred space. Ahead, the altar gleams faintly beneath a canopy of shimmering gold. It is simple yet magnificent, a place where prayers rise like smoke and promises are etched into the fabric of the universe. You pause, heart pounding, and reach into your satchel, fingers curling around the laurel rod and golden feather, symbols of your journey and the blessings that have carried you this far. You lay them gently on the altar, the metal cool and the feather surprisingly warm. The moment feels suspended, the air charged with anticipation. You close your eyes and bow your head, whispering words you barely understand, but feel deeply, words of gratitude, hope, and the vow to remain humble in the face of the God's will. A soft breeze stirs, though the temple has no windows, and the flickering lamps cast dancing shadows on the walls. You open your eyes to find the air shimmering as if touched by some unseen hand. The golden feather lifts slightly, floating above the altar, spinning slowly as if caught in a celestial dance. The laurel rod vibrates gently in response, its bronze loop glowing faintly. You feel a warmth spread through your chest, a steady flame kindled by unseen forces. This is more than blessing, it is a calling, an invitation to step beyond mortal limits and embrace the flight for which you were born. You take a deep breath and step back, heart racing with a mixture of awe and resolve. The temple feels alive, watching, waiting, The path forward is clear yet daunting. The final ascent to greatness. The test of spirit and courage that will define your legend. As you turn to leave, the feather settles back onto the altar, and the light in the lamps steadies. The silence resumes, profound and sacred. You feel the weight of the moment settle within you, a quiet strength that will carry you through what lies ahead. Outside, the sky is a tapestry of stars, vast and infinite. Pegasus waits silently, wings folded, eyes reflecting the constellations above. You approach, the bond between you stronger than ever. Together you face the night, the mountains, and the destiny that awaits beyond. With a final glance at the temple's gleaming facade, you mount Pegasus, the chill of the marble fading as you lift into the starlit sky. The wind is your companion, the night your canvas. You soar toward the zenith higher than ever before, where mortal fears give way to divine dreams. Your flight is a silent hymn, a testament to courage and the unbreakable bond between rider and winged steed. The world below shrinks into shadows and light, and the stars above seem to pulse in time with your beating heart. This moment is both an end and a beginning, a threshold crossed and a new legend born. You ride the winds of fate, wings spread wide, ready to carve your story across the heavens. The higher you climb, the thinner the air becomes, sharp and biting against your skin like shards of ice. Pegasus's wings beat steadily, muscles taut beneath his gleaming coat as he cuts through the cold, misty heights. Your breath comes fast, a rhythmic rush that blends with the steady thrum of powerful wings. Every inhale burns, every exhale a whispered promise to press onward. The clouds swirl around you, vast and endless, shifting from soft silver to ominous gray. You peer through the shifting mist, searching for a glimpse of the peak that seems forever just out of reach. The wind claws at your cloak, tugging with relentless insistence, as if the very air itself tests your resolve. Your fingers tighten on the reins, knuckles white with effort. The mountain's call grows louder, a silent roar that reverberates in your chest and mind. You lean into the cold, trusting Pegasus's strength and your own unyielding spirit to carry you through. The storm ahead thickens, lightning dancing like serpents across the sky. Thunder rumbles deep, a distant drumbeat that grows louder with every wing beat. You grip the saddle, eyes narrowing against the stinging rain that begins to fall like shards of glass. Pegasus beats his wings harder, wings slicing through the tempest with fierce determination. The wind howls in your ears, a wild, untamed force that threatens to sweep you away. You lean forward, heart pounding in sync with the thunder, a fierce joy mingling with a raw challenge. The storm tests you, sharp gusts buffet your body, icy rain lashes your face, and the sky explodes in brilliant flashes. Yet amid the chaos, you find focus. Every beat of Pegasus's wings carries you closer to the summit, each breath of victory over the biting cold. Your muscles ache, lungs burn, but your spirit soars. You are no longer merely mortal. You are something greater, a rider on the edge of legend, bound to a winged steed, defying the very heavens. Then, as suddenly as it began, the storm breaks. The clouds part, revealing a sky washed clean and radiant. The sun's golden light spills over the peaks, casting long shadows that stretch across valleys and ridges below. The air grows warm, the chill retreating like a fading memory. You and Pegasus glide into the calm, wings folding as you descend toward a plateau bathed in sunlight. The world feels vast and full of promise, a canvas waiting for the next stroke of your story. You land softly on the sunlit stone, the warmth seeping into your bones. The peak of Olympus lies before you, a throne of clouds and stone crowned by ancient temples and whispered secrets. The journey has been long, arduous, but the summit is yours. You dismount, legs shaking with fatigue and exhilaration. The air here is pure, filled with the scent of pine and sky. You look up at the towering columns and marble steps, feeling the weight of destiny settle gently over your shoulders. The gods watch from their celestial heights, silent and inscrutable. You know this moment is a threshold, the place where mortal will meet divine judgment. Your breath steadies, resolve hardens, and with steady steps you begin your ascent. Each footfall echoes with the hopes and fears of countless heroes before you. The path is steep, the climb demanding, but your heart beats strong with the promise of what lies ahead. At the summit, the world spreads wide and endless, a tapestry of light and shadow, earth and sky. You stand ready, wings folded, spirits soaring, poised to meet your fate and write the next chapter of your legend. The sky cracks open with a sudden, blinding flash, a thunderbolt slicing through the heavens like a spear of pure light. The roar of thunder follows, shaking the very air around you and rattling the ancient stones beneath your feet. Pegasus rears in startled protest, wings beating frantically as the storm's fury descends upon you. You clutch the reins, heart pounding in wild, fearful rhythms. The bolt strikes with the power of 1,000 suns, splitting the sky and casting jagged shadows across the mountaintop. The air crackles, thick with the scent of ozone and burning stone. You feel a fierce heat sear through your body, a sudden pain that blazes along your spine and spreads like wildfire. Time seems to shatter seconds, stretching into eternity as you plummet, weightless and untethered. Pegasus cries out, wings flailing as he tries to regain control, but the force of the strike hurls you both away from the summit, away from the realm of gods and dreams. You hurtle earthward, the wind screaming past your ears, carrying with it the bitter taste of fear and loss. The world rushes up to meet you in a blur of stone and sky, a chaotic storm of sensations that threatens to consume your very being. Your limbs flail, searching for purchase, for some way to break the fall, but the ground rushes closer with terrifying speed. Then, just as the final moment seems inevitable, the world shifts. You crash through a tangle of branches and leaves, the impact jarring but soft by nature's embrace. Pain blooms across your body, sharp and insistent, but beneath it, a stubborn spark of life refuses to die. You lie tangled in the underbrush, breath ragged, senses reeling. The sky above is a patchwork of clouds and sun, distant and unreachable. Your body aches with bruises and scrapes, but your mind is clear, fierce, and unbroken. Pegasus lands nearby, wings folded but eyes wide with concern and loyalty. The majestic creature nuzzles your shoulder, a silent promise that he has not abandoned you. You reach out, fingers trembling, and press your palm to his warm neck. The connection steadies you, a tether to life and hope. You rise slowly, every movement a testament to willpower and grit. The forest around you is quiet, alive with the whisper of leaves and distant bird calls. You survey your surroundings, trees towering like ancient guardians, the soft carpet of moss beneath your feet, the faint scent of earth and rain. The fall has brought you far from Olympus's heights, but you are alive. The pain in your body is a harsh reminder of mortality, but your spirit burns brighter than ever. You know this is not the end, only a new beginning. You gather your strength, steadying your breath, and look to Pegasus. Together you will find your way back. The journey will be long and fraught with peril, but the bond between rider and steed is unbreakable. With determination hardening in your chest, you mount Pegasus once more. The forest seems to hold its breath as you take flight again, wings beating a steady rhythm against the softening sky. The path ahead is uncertain, shadowed by trials yet to come, but you face it with courage forged in fire and flight. The world below unfolds, once more a tapestry of green and gold, rivers and valleys, promise and mystery. You rise, soaring toward a future unwritten, ready to reclaim your place among legends. The descent is long and slow, your body aching with every beat of Pegasus's wings. The forest gives way to rolling hills, dotted with wildflowers and whispering grasses that bend under the soft wind. The air grows warmer as you approach the fertile plains, the distant hum of civilization reaching your ears like a muted song. You lean forward, the cool breeze ruffling your hair, and feel the comforting weight of Pegasus beneath you, a living tether to hope and strength. The sun dips low, casting golden light across the fields. Farmers pause in their work to watch the winged horse and rider glide overhead, their eyes wide with awe and wonder. You catch glimpses of children pointing skyward, faces lifted in dreams of flight and adventure. Their laughter is a balm to your weary soul, reminding you of the promise you carry not just for yourself, but for all who look to the skies with hope. You steer Pegasus toward the city's outer walls, now growing larger with each passing moment. The gates stand open, welcoming yet imposing, flanked by guards whose faces are etched with years of duty and vigilance. You feel their eyes on you, a mixture of suspicion and reverence as you touch down softly within the city's embrace. The streets are alive with movement, merchants hawking their wares, artisans crafting delicate pottery, and citizens bustling with the rhythms of daily life. You move through the crowd, the weight of your journey settling like a cloak around your shoulders. The golden bridle glints at your side, a symbol of the trials overcome and the bond forged with Pegasus. You make your way to a quiet courtyard shaded by olive trees, their silvery leaves shimmering in the fading light. Pegasus lowers his head, nuzzling your hand with gentle affection. You take a deep breath, feeling the steady thrum of his heartbeat beneath your palm, a reminder that you are not alone. As night falls, the city quiets, and you find a place to rest beneath the stars. The distant glow of lamps flickers like fireflies, and the soft murmur of the sea carries on the breeze. You close your eyes, letting the exhaustion wash over you, yet your mind remains alight with the memories of flight, battle, and the unbreakable bond between rider and steed. Dreams come swiftly, vivid and strange, a tapestry of clouds, stars, and the distant call of wings. You see flashes of Olympus, the shimmering temple, and the fierce storm that nearly claimed you. Yet through it all, Pegasus stands by your side, a steadfast companion in the shifting tides of fate. You awaken with the first light of dawn, muscles stiff but spirit renewed. The journey continues, the path ahead winding and uncertain, but your resolve is unwavering. With Pegasus beside you, the sky is not a limit, but a beginning, a canvas for the story yet to be told. You rise, ready to face the day and whatever challenges it brings. The world awaits, vast and full of possibility, and you are ready to soar once more, rider and winged horse united in purpose and destiny. You sit beneath the sprawling branches of an ancient olive tree, the rough bark pressing against your back, grounding you to the earth as your thoughts swirl like leaves in the wind. Pegasus grazes nearby, his powerful neck dipping to nibble tender shoots with surprising gentleness. The air is still, warm with the late afternoon sun, and the distant sounds of village life weave a comforting background melody. Your body aches in places you hadn't noticed before the bruises and scrapes from your fall sting faintly, and your muscles protest the long hours of flight. Yet, beneath the physical fatigue lies a deep, steady pulse of determination. You have come too far, endured too much, to turn back now. As you rest, your mind drifts through the tapestry of your journey. The dreams that beckon you from Corinth, the whispered prophecy that set your path in motion. Each memory feels vivid, charged with meaning. The golden feather tucked in your satchel seems to hum softly, a heartbeat syncing with your own. You recall the quiet priestess who guided you in the temple, her dark eyes full of knowing. The laurel rod resting beside you carries the weight of sacred vows and silent promises. These tokens are more than mere objects. They are symbols of the journey you have undertaken, markers of the transformation unfolding within. The sun dips lower, casting long shadows that stretch across the rolling hills. You watch as the sky deepens from soft blue to fiery amber, then to the deep indigo of approaching night. The first stars appear, shy at first, then shining boldly like ancient sentinels, watching over the world. You reach out, brushing your fingers over Pegasus's silken mane. The horse lifts his head, eyes reflecting the starlight with a quiet intelligence that always surprises you. There is a comfort in this connection, a silent understanding that transcends words. Your thoughts turn to the stories yet untold, the battles to come, the heights yet to be reached. You feel the weight of destiny settling over you, a mantle woven from courage, sacrifice, and hope. The journey has shaped you, tempered your spirit like fire forging steel. As darkness falls, the world seems to hold its breath. The gentle rustle of leaves, the distant hoot of an owl, and the soft rhythm of Pegasus's breathing create a lullaby that soothes your restless mind. You close your eyes, letting the quiet envelop you, carrying you into a restful sleep. In your dreams you soar once more, wings spread wide, heart unburdened, racing through skies that stretch beyond the horizon. The stars guide you, their light a beacon of promise and possibility. The path is open, the journey unending, and you are ready. When morning comes, you awaken with the sun's first rays warming your face. You rise slowly, muscles stiff, but spirit renewed. The world awaits, vast and full of mystery, and with Pegasus beside you, the sky is yours to claim. Together, you prepare to face the next chapter, ready to write your legend across the heavens, one wing beat at a time. The olive grove stretches wide beneath you, leaves shimmering silver in the soft light of dawn. You sit beneath a sturdy branch, the rough bark pressing into your back as the morning sun slowly warms your skin. Pegasus grazes quietly nearby, the gentle swish of his tail blending with the rustle of leaves and the distant chirping of birds waking from their night's rest. Your thoughts drift as you watch the sun climb higher, casting golden hues across the rolling hills. The air is filled with the scent of earth and wildflowers, a comforting reminder of the world you fight to protect and the home you long to return to. The weight of your journey sits heavy in your chest, mingling with a growing sense of understanding. You think about the lessons learned, the quiet strength found in moments of doubt, the courage summoned in the face of overwhelming odds. The prophecy that led you here feels less like a command and more like a gentle guide, its words echoing softly in your mind. Where moonlight meets sacred stone. You reach out and run your fingers over the worn leather of your saddle. a touchstone connecting past and future, mortal and divine. Pegasus lifts his head, eyes meeting yours with a steady, knowing gaze. In that look, you find reassurance and unspoken promise that you face what lies ahead, not alone, but united. The wind picks up, carrying the soft hum of distant waves and the faint scent of jasmine. You close your eyes, letting the moment wash over you, a pause in the ever-turning wheel of fate. The sky above stretches vast and endless, a canvas waiting for the next stroke of your story. You rise slowly, muscles aching, but spirit steady. The road back to Corinth lies ahead, winding through olive groves and sunlit valleys. The city awaits, its marble pillars gleaming in the distance like promises yet fulfilled. You know the people will look to you not just as a hero, but as a beacon, a reminder that courage and hope can soar even in the darkest times. Mounting Pegasus, you feel the powerful muscles beneath you ripple with readiness. The bond between rider and steed hums with quiet strength, a force forged through trials, triumphs, and unwavering trust. Together you lift into the sky, wings catching the gentle morning breeze. As you soar above the earth, the world unfolds beneath you like a living tapestry. Rivers glitter like veins of silver, forests breathe deep, and villages nestle in the folds of the land. The air is filled with possibility, and your heart beats in time with the rhythm of the skies. You ride not just for glory, but for the stories yet told, the lives touched, the dreams inspired. Each beat of Pegasus's wings carries you closer to home, closer to the next chapter of your legend. The sun climbs higher, bathing the world in light and promise. You lean into the wind, ready to meet whatever awaits, knowing that with Pegasus by your side, you can face anything. Your journey is far from over, but the path is clear. With steady heart and soaring spirit, you ride onward, hero and winged horse bound by destiny, carving your story across the endless sky. The evening sun dips low, casting long shadows across the olive groves as you and Pegasus glide gently toward Corinth. The city's familiar skyline grows clearer with each beat of powerful wings, the marble columns catching the last light like sentinels guarding a sacred realm. Your heart swells with a mixture of relief and anticipation. You have traveled far, faced fire and storm, and now the journey draws near its moment of reckoning. The air is cool and fragrant, filled with the scent of jasmine and sea salt, carried by a soft breeze. You lean forward, fingers resting lightly on Pegasus's mane, feeling the steady rhythm of his breath beneath your palm. The bond between you is unspoken but unbreakable, a silent promise forged in trials that transcends words. Below, the streets bustle with life as evening lanterns flicker to life, casting golden pools of light on cobblestones worn smooth by countless footsteps. The people pause in their daily routines, eyes lifting skyward to witness the winged rider returning up, living legend whose tale is etched in their hearts. You descend slowly, wings spreading wide to catch the cooling air, and land softly in the grand plaza. The crowd parts, faces shining with admiration and hope. Children run forward, reaching out to touch the shining horse and the golden bridle that gleams like sunlight caught in strands of silk. The city elders step forward, their robes flowing and faces solemn, yet proud. They offer blessings and words of praise, but you sense beneath their reverence a deeper understanding that the journey has changed you both, marking a transformation beyond mere heroics. You dismount, the weight of the day settling into a quiet calm. Pegasus lowers his head, nuzzling your shoulder in a gesture of trust and companionship. You run a hand along his sleek neck, grateful for the steady presence beside you. The night unfolds softly around you, stars blooming like scattered jewels across the velvet sky. You feel the gentle pulse of life in the city, the hum of voices, the soft laughter, the steady beat of distant drums. The world feels alive with possibility, each moment a thread woven into the fabric of your legend. As you walk beneath the olive trees lining the plaza, the cool night air wraps around you like a comforting cloak. The memories of your flight, the battles fought, and the bonds forged linger like a warm glow within your chest. You know the path ahead remains uncertain, filled with new challenges and unseen dangers, but the strength you carry is unshakable. You pause beneath the branches, gazing upward at the stars. The sky is vast and endless, a canvas for dreams and destinies yet to be fulfilled. You breathe deeply, letting the night soothe and steady your spirit. Pegasus stands beside you, a silent guardian and loyal friend. Together you have faced storms and shadows, soared above the clouds, and touched the realm of gods. Now you stand on the threshold of a new chapter, a story that will live on in whispered tales and timeless songs. The journey has been long and fraught with peril, but it has also been one of wonder and discovery. You are no longer merely a mortal, but a legend in your own right, a rider bound to a winged steed, forever soaring beyond the reach of ordinary life. As the night deepens and the city settles into peaceful slumber, you close your eyes and feel the soft pulse of Pegasus's breath beneath your hand. The world is vast, the stars endless, and your story, your flight, is only just beginning.